Hello everyone, this is Funny Krishna. Welcome to Git and GitHub Masterclass. And this is a day 14 video. So don't get worried about the day 13 because I combined day 12 and 13 and I uploaded as a day 12 video because I don't want to break the flow of creating the repository and connecting the local repository with the remote repository. So which you can see both 12 and 13 day agenda in a single video. Okay, right. So in this video, let us talk about GitHub authentication. First, what is the authentication? Authentication means like verification, like who you are and all the things. Okay, so give me a second. Okay, so here, whenever you are uploading or you are committing some changes to the remote repository, the remote repository has to authenticate you, whether you are a valid user or not. Like GitHub wants to know who is performing this action. It can be save, delete, edit, whatever. And does this person have access? Is this request safe? That identity verification process is called authentication. Like whenever you are withdrawing money from the bank, you need to put your ATM card and then you need to punch the PIN number, right? Then bank verifies whether you are a real user or not and all these things. That is what authentication is. Authorization is a different, whether you have a permission to withdraw the money, like sufficient balance, there's a different concept. Just I'm focusing on authentication. So why we need authentication, GitHub authentication especially, is this authentication protects your code. How? It prevent strangers from modifying your repositories. Even though yours, let us say you have a public repository. What does that mean by public repository? Anyone can view, right? Anyone can view, but at the same time, anyone cannot modify your code. Anyone can view, but this GitHub will prevent strangers from modifying repositories. Means you cannot modify my repository even though my repository is a public repository. How can I allow someone to modify is with the help of a authentication. So I let us say for a particular user, I have given edit permission. So that user have to prove his authentication, whether he is a valid user or not. Anyone can view, but they cannot modify. And let us say I have given a permission to a user called Ram to edit that particular GitHub repository, right? Then he needs to prove, or I can say a valid user needs to authenticate with GitHub to perform any modification actions. What sort of actions? Let us say delete or create or update, like a modify, edit, these kind of things. This is authentication. And on GitHub, we have a different types of authentication available. HTTPS authentication, HTTPS authentication. Any guess what authentications are available? Okay, if you know, just mention that in the comment section. HTTPS authentication, and it uses, like I can say, PAT or personal access a token. Personal access a token. Then the second one is SSH, SSH authentication. And earlier we used to have something called username plus password authentication, which is not available anymore on GitHub. Apart from these, there are something like enterprise SSO authentication, single sign-on, which is like you have username and password credentials for your organization, The same credentials can be used to log into GitHub. But for that, you need a GitHub Enterprise account and all these things, and that is not required at this point. Let us focus on these two. Earlier, we used to have a username and password, which is deprecated, which is deprecated means which is not available, because username plus password combination is not secure way. It is not a secure way. Okay. Let us talk about these different authentication methods available. First, let us talk about personal access token, which is also known as a PAT. Actually, this is a kind of HTTPS plus personal access token. So whenever Git asks a password, we use a token. So we don't enter a username and password here. Whenever you are performing some kind of changes, let us say I'm pushing some code. I am pushing some code. Then what happens? This remote repository needs to verify whether I am a valid user or not. Whenever it asks me to prove my verification, either I have to use a PAT or SSH authentication. What is a PAT? A code, a secure replacement for password. Personal access token, a secure replacement for the password. It looks like some a string, multiple character string. I will show you. How this PAT works is the user creates a token in GitHub settings. I will show you. And Git will ask your username and password while you are creating the personal access token. And finally, we create the token. And whenever you are doing some changes on the GitHub, then it will ask you the verification, authentication. Then we will paste that PAT instead of a password. That's it. It is very easy for beginners, because easy, just copy paste. Not required to configure any SSH setup or something. Good for temporary use. And whenever the token got leaked, right? So anybody can log into your AWS, your GitHub account. And it is not that much smooth as SSH. SSH authentication is advanced, more secure. How this SSH authentication, like, because in the real time, everybody will prefer SSH authentication. It is the most secured way. It is the most secured way to log in. Okay. So what is this? How this SSH authentication works is you will have a key pair, or I can say a pair of keys. We will use a pair of keys. What pair of keys? One is a public key, and the second one is a private key. A combination of public key and a private key. Okay. So here, one second. In the SSH authentication, we use a pair of keys. And what pair of keys? A public key and a private key. The combination of public and private key. What exactly we do is, we have a GitHub repo, right? We have a GitHub repository. And we will place this public key on the GitHub repo. And the user, whenever the user is trying to access the GitHub, he needs to use the private key. So the private key will be used whenever you are trying to communicate with the GitHub repo. What this GitHub will do, it will validate the user provided private key with the public key. If the combination matches, it is a pair, right? There is a unique combination. If the combination matches, then it will identify, okay, so and so user, user 1 or user 2 is getting logged in, and he is a valid user and he is authorized to perform. And that's how this SSH authentication is used. And SSH is most powerful, like I can say highly secure. No need to repeated password prompts and anything. In the real time, this is the authentication method we use, SSH authentication. But we see both, like how to configure personal access token and how to use SSH authentication, how to configure it, right? That is what we see. But configuring or setting up the SSH authentication is not that much easy. I can say it is like a medium level to configure, but security wise, it is very highly secure. Okay. Now I don't want to disturb my laptop. So what I have done is I'm using a different machine. Right? So this is the repository which we created yesterday. I will configure everything here. Let me open Git Bash. Okay. So how to check whether this is connected with a remote repository or not? Git remote hyphen v. See, it is connected with the GitHub, right? Okay. So here we have a command git pull. What is the git pull? It will pull all the data from remote repository to local repository. See, it is saying already up to date, which means there is no changes in the remote repository. My local repository is up to date with the remote repository, right? Okay, but it is not asking me to enter any username or password. Why? Because the repository is the public repository. No need of any authentication or something for the read action. Git pull is just we are reading from the remote repository. That's why it is not asking me to create any password. Sorry, any to enter any password or something. Okay. First, what I do is I will create a file in the repository. So here I can say a file, new, a file. I will say pat authentication testing. Just a file, right? Okay, now I want to push that. Git add dot. So it will be moved to the staging area. Git commit hyphen m testing pat authentication. Done. What happened? Okay, for the first time, right? I'm using this for the first time, so I need to configure my username, passwords, and all the things. Give me a quick sec. Git config hyphen global user dot email. Just I installed the Git and everything on this machine. Just I need to configure you email and password. Git config hyphen global user dot name. I will say some any name, that doesn't matter. Done. Okay, now let me commit. And it got committed into my local repository. It was not yet pushed to the remote repository. How to push? We have to git push origin main, right? Or did I say any other? Yes. If you say git push hyphen u origin, that is also okay. No problem. Git push origin hyphen space main, and I pressed enter. Now it is asking me, see, it is asking me to sign in for authentication. So here you can go to token and you can enter personal access token here. I'm not entering here because we haven't generated any personal access token yet. Or alternate way is you can sign in with your browser. So automatically you will be logged in. This is a HTTPS or PAT. I will show you the PAT. For that, first we need to generate a personal access token. We need to generate a personal access token. So how to generate? Let me go to the GitHub. Just go to the GitHub. Now go to your repository. Then you can see the settings. Go there. Now on the left side, there is an option setting developer settings where it is, or just go to Advanced security, no problem. Wait. Not the repository settings, sorry. So I go here on the top right corner, just then settings. And on the left side, developer settings. Now here you can see personal access tokens. Just go with this or this, no problem. Tokens classic. Last time I did this, let me delete. Now let me click on generate new token. Generate, you can use this or this. What is the difference between if I select this, then I can restrict this particular user with a specific repository and all the things. If I say classic, okay. So I will get a multi-factor authentication configured. So I need to verify it on my mobile phone. I configured that. So wait a second. Where is that? I don't receive. Yeah. So 13, let me enter the 13 and approve. Yeah. So here I will say pat testing. Just I'm using this pat for testing purpose. And here for every personal access token, you can set expiration. Like, so it means after 7 days, this pat personal access token doesn't work. So you have to select what kind of authorization, full access, everything you have to select, admin permission, whatever you want, just you can select, right? Whatever you need, just you can select the permissions, notifications, everything you can select and click on generate token. Now the personal access token got generated. No worries, I will delete this. I will copy this. Okay, now I go there. Now I'm going to push. So now it is asking me. So I will select token here and I will save, sign in. Done. Now let us check whether on our GitHub, let us check whether the data has been pushed to the remote repository or not. Just a minute. It is getting loaded. Okay, where is that? Here is the repository. Let me click. See, just 4 minutes ago it was pushed to the remote repository. This is one way. Okay. What happens if I create one more file, new folder? Sorry, I don't need a folder, a file, but whatever it is, that doesn't matter. New file at 2. What happens if I do again git add a dot, git push, git a commit hyphen m, pushing something, enter. Okay, now git push origin main. See, it got stored. Okay, whenever the pat got expired, let me go there. So let me go to settings. Right, let us go to developer settings, personal access tokens. Okay, right, let me delete. I deleted the token, right? Okay, now if I create any file, new file, after pat got deleted. Okay, now let us say git add a dot, git commit hyphen m, commit after pat deleted. Right, now let me try to push. Let me try to push now. What happened? Password authentication is not supported for Git operations because the pat whatever we use that was expired. This is one way. So you have to generate the pat again and you need to use the pat. But pat is not recommended to use. What is the recommended way to use SSH? SSH authentication. How to do that SSH authentication is, first thing, we need to generate the SSH key. What is that SSH key? It is the combination of public and private keys. How to do that? Just open the Git bash. Open Git bash. Now you have to type SSH hyphen key gen. Then you can use a name or whatever, that doesn't matter, or you can press enter also. But recommended way is hyphen T ed 25519. That is a method. Hyphen C, then your email. Press enter and follow on-screen instructions. Press enter, 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 and done. It got generated. Where that files got generated is, you can see your public key has been saved in C users administrator.ssh. Let us go there. Let us navigate. C users cd users cd administrator. Okay. Then .ssh. Okay. If I do ll, see, these are the two files. This is a private key and this is a public key. This is a private key and this is a public key. Okay. Now, what you have to do is you need to open this public key. If you don't want to use the commands, manually you can go there. See, right, users, administrator, and SSH. See, manually open the pub file. This one, .pb, right click, open with, and use your favorite editor, notepad. Just once, that's okay. This is the key. This is a public key. Anybody can see, no issues. Copy, copy. Now, this public key you have to add to GitHub. So go to the GitHub, right? Go to settings. Then on the left side, this is a GitHub settings. On the left side, you can see SSH and GPG keys. Go there. Click on the SSH and GPG keys. Looks like internet is slow. Okay. Just two steps to complete this SSH setup. Give me a second. Let me switch the internet. Okay. I hope it works now. It should be good. Yeah. SSH and GPG keys. And now here you need to add a new SSH key. Now title, I can say my laptop, means this key is used to allow the connection from my laptop. Just a unique name for identification. So, paste that a key, the one which we have read, right? Use, okay, not here. Okay. Copy and paste, add SSH key. Now what happened here? Sorry. This is your GitHub, right? This is your GitHub. And we added public key here. We added the public key here. Whenever a user is trying to establish the connection with the GitHub, what GitHub does is we will send a private key. we need to send a private key. Means the private key must be configured or must be exist in your laptop. So it will check whether this private key is the valid combination of the public key or not. If yes, this will be authenticated. So we configured this, and this private key is already in your laptop, right? Okay. I mean, in your machine from where you are trying to access. Okay. So now what I do is I would like to test the authentication. How to test before pushing the code and all, I would like to test in this way. There is just a kind of a command SSH-T git@github.com. So enter. Let's type yes, confirmation. See, hi Ponnam, you have successfully authenticated, but GitHub does not provide shell access. Yeah, you can't do some modifications from here on the GitHub. But if you see this message means authentication is done. We're testing the connection. It looks good. Okay. Now let us push the code. Now let us push the code. How to push the code? Just go to the place where your code has been saved, your repository. Right? We created some files which is not uploaded to this one. It is not available in your GitHub repository. If you want to check, I will show you. Let me refresh the page, and you don't see, and the last file which was uploaded is pat2.txt. You don't see after pat got deleted file, right? Because it was not pushed to the remote repository. Now let us push. Right click, open the shell, git bash. Okay, let me check git status. All good, nothing pending. All are committed to the local repository. Now git push origin main. Let me enter. Now the code is getting pushed to the remote repository. Why? We configured SSH authentication, and we have a valid SSH key. And once everything is done, wait. Did we miss any? Wait a second. Yeah, we got authentication failed. That's why it is asking this. If this worked, it won't ask you to enter all these things. Wait a second. Let me cross check. Cancel. Okay, it's failing. Wait a second. What all we have done? We have configured the thing. It is working. And what else? Let me think. Give me a second. Some configuration we missed. Public key we configured, right? Yeah, got it. Okay, we missed that. So let us check the remote origin, git remote -v. What we are using here, the HTTPS URL, not the SSH URL, right? So we need to configure the origin with SSH again. How? Git remote, the same way how we configured earlier, the same way git remote set URL origin. Now we need to enter the SSH URL. How to do that? So this is our repository, right? Click on code, go to SSH, copy this one, paste, right? These all are like one-time setups in the real time. Okay. Yes, done. Let us see. Get remote -v. Good. It seems it is not showing any HTTPS. It is a SSH thing. Okay, now let us push. Git push origin git push origin main. Done. It is not asking you any password because it used SSH authentication. If I go there and if I refresh, and you should see a commit. Where is the commit? Just few minutes ago. Where is that? After pat got deleted. This is the file which got uploaded just now. See? If you want to check, you can check one more time. Let me create a file. I will say git and GitHub test or something. Not the folder. Let me create a file. New file. Okay. Now let us do git add dot git commit -m SSH authentication testing, a comment for the commit. Now git push origin main and done. Let us see. So let me refresh. You should see a message now. See, this is how the SSH authentication works. So we have two things. One is a personal access token and the second one is SSH key authentication. And in the real time, we always use SSH authentication. The personal access token is not recommended. That is only for temporary purpose. If you want to give some person for a temporary access of like 7 days or so, or on a particular only on a single repo, then you can generate a pat for him and just you can ask him to use that for the next 7 days or so, and you can disable whenever you want if it is a pat. But as a regular developer, you have to use SSH key authentication only. Okay, right. That's it for this video. If you have any questions, just you can reach me on the comment section and I can help you out. Thank you, everyone. We will meet in the another video with another topic.